Thank you so much, Dr. Samriddhi. Thank you so much, SOA and the Department of Computer Science and IT for inviting me for this talk. I have seen the content of your entire FDP. That looks very interesting and very exciting. And all the participants must have attended a number of wonderful lectures on fundamentals and basics of ML, emerging ML techniques for different applications, because the title of FDP is really very good in order to solve the real world problems. How does ML play role? That must have been covered very thoroughly. So in this lecture, you can assume that I'm going to sum up a kind of AI intervention. As you can see the title of my talk, there are three keywords which I have highlighted with different colors. One you can see as AI intervention, that is the intervention of artificial intelligence. Second that you can see is Indian knowledge system, what is called as IKS. So AI intervention in IKS based studies. For the third term that you can see is preventive and sustainable healthcare. So we will try to focus on all these three terms. But before we talk about how does AI intervention play role, we will also, understand what is IKS, what do we mean by IKS, and what actually preventive and sustainable healthcare means. See, whenever we say sustainability, sustainable healthcare. Healthcare is the, promising area where AI has been playing significant role, especially when we talk about Internet of Things, Internet of Medical Things, playing significant role in the healthcare sector. And in all different aspects of healthcare, AI plays huge role. But when I say sustainable and preventive healthcare, this can help us to avoid medication. This can help us to avoid even surgery, lot of medicines. So can we think of such healthcare that is sustainable, that is preventive in nature? And the answer is to large extent, yes. And how the answer could be yes? The answer lies in this one, the extreme potential or the scope of IKS. So we are working in this area currently and using this AI intervention. Therefore, I thought of, talking on this topic, and this has a tremendous scope of applying your AI intervention for preventive healthcare. So the outline of my talk will be, as I mentioned, I'll talk about IKS, AI and sustainable healthcare, and then AI intervention. How does it actually play a role in the research-based studies in mindfulness practices? Now you see here, there is another term which is coming as mindfulness practices. I'll explain what is mindfulness practices. So what I have written here is mindfulness practices of IKS. So IKS is a broad area, is a broad subject matter that covers number of other subdomains, and one of the subdomain, which is very important subdomain, is mindfulness practices. I'll explain about this thing. So let us see one interesting picture, that there are two pictures combined together. One is, highlighting the AI, and second is, you can see Sanskrit, our Vedas, science, the form of arts, dance, music, etc., etc. So our cultural heritage, our traditional knowledge of India, what I'm saying is an Indian knowledge system that does not only include mindfulness practices. I'll come to mindfulness practices with details. So therefore, I'm not explaining right now what is mindfulness practices, but it covers Indian knowledge system covers everything, the traditional art, traditional culture, traditional philosophy, psychology, traditional manufacturing, traditional metallurgical knowledge, traditional knowledge of physics, chemistry, science, all those things are covered, and how we can integrate with the artificial intelligence, and why to integrate. That is the most, a challenging question. Why to integrate? Is there any significant outcome we are likely to get? Why to do this? And the answer will be attempted to be covered in this talk. So AI, when we talk about artificial intelligence, you look at here, it starts with the brain, and this brain is a physical object, right? And when we are talking about mindfulness practices, I'm just giving the outline. So when we talk about mindfulness practices, we have to note one more term, and that is cognitive science. I think many of you have heard about this or must have heard about the term cognitive science. So cognitive science is the science that deals with the study of mind, and that too scientific study of mind is cognitive science. Believe me, a lot of study, a lot of research is going on in the area of neuroscience, in the brain research all across the world, in top universities, top research organizations in the world, in the areas of brain science and neurosciences. And the term which is very popular is cognitive science. It has again a number of sub branches, sub domains, but cognitive science is mainly a scientific study of mind. Now you need to understand, because there is a term here, mindfulness. There is a term here, mindfulness, and there is a very important term in mindfulness, which is mind. So what is this mind? So mind is something which is, dynamic in nature. It is not physically present inside your brain. It's dynamic in nature. I'll try to explain that mind has subconsciousness and a subconsciousness, consciousness as the important components. So I can give one simple example that you are attending this talk today. Many of you, I think, are students, participants, and I'm glad that I heard that faculty members are also attending. So some of you are maybe attending this talk, paying your good attention, but still you are thinking about some other activity. You are thinking about some other task, thinking about some other object. It means your consciousness is driving you. Your consciousness is taking you to some other activity. So therefore, this mind is something which is dynamic in nature. Your consciousness is moving from here and there. It's not stable, and it has a bigger role to play when we talk about sustainable healthcare. So therefore, when I have included picture, it carries huge meaning. So the very concept of artificial intelligence has been derived from this brain concept. You must have covered all ML models and other models, your deep learning models, where you have seen that there are huge number of layers, convolution layers, and all those. But the basic concept is we have around 90 or more than 90 billions of neurons, and those all neurons are structured in layers inside our brain, and there are different parts of the brain. I'll come to that with the help of diagram. Like our frontal area is, front part is called as a frontal area. Then you have parietal, temporal, occipital, different areas are there in your brain. So actually, when you do some activity, when you perform certain tasks, when you are in different mood, when you are happy, when you are not happy, so there are different impacts inside the brain in different parts of your brain. And how that is very much relevant to my current talk, how that is relevant to the sustainable healthcare, that I'll try to definitely explain with the help of some practical example, with the help of some work that we have already done and we have been doing here in our lab. We have a center called Indian Knowledge System Center, Indian Knowledge System Lab, and IIIT Bangalore. So you can see two more pictures suddenly appeared. I say it written as three: good health and well-being, and fourth is quality education. If any one of students can answer this, what these three and four are, I'd be glad. So if someone who has access to unmute herself or himself and wants to answer this, I'd be glad to hear the answer. Anyone who will try to who wants to attempt? What is this three and four? Any student? Okay. All right. So this is equally important, right, to understand. I'm just creating a background for you. You might have expected that in this lecture also we are going to see a lot of mathematical models, different matrices, differential equations, different layers of network, and how the weights are updated, how the classification, performance is evaluated, how do we calculate accuracy in F1 score and all that. I'll come to that with few practical examples, believe me. But this is very important because this topic is a different kind of topic, and that deals with, as I told you, sustainable healthcare, which is a preventive healthcare. I mean, everyone would love to have the preventive healthcare. If I tell you that no, you do not have to depend on medicines, you do not have to depend on long-term treatment. You can always lead happy and healthy life if you follow certain things. You'll always be excited. What is that thing? And other thing is, can artificial intelligence play a role in such kind of study and research? That is even more exciting. So that is what all about my topic today, my topic of the talk today. So these 3 and 4 are nothing but, see, whenever we talk about sustainable development, sustainable term comes, we always remember about United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And there are for different areas like poverty alleviation, clean energy, pure water, clean water. There are 17 sustainable development goals, which are UN SDGs, we call United Sustainable Development Goals. And the third and fourth goal are, third is good health and well-being, and fourth one is the quality education. Why these are very, very important? It's extremely important, I can tell you. The sustainable development of mankind, sustainable development of society, and sustainable development of the whole world depends on these two major things. If people are educated, they are being provided quality education, affordable education, quality research opportunity, then automatically, awareness will be created, awakening will be there, people will get elevated, and a lot of their problems, financial, stability will increase. So therefore, quality education is very important. Second, and this why I have included this particular sustainable development goal in my talk, and how I'm going to connect this with AI. That also is my responsibility. I will explain in coming slides. So no worries, the number of slides is only 32, but I'll take entire, the complete 90 minutes that has been assigned to me. I can close maybe 10-15 minutes before. If you have some questions that you can, send in the chat boxes, later I'll take, because now I cannot read the chat boxes. I'm in the full screen mode. Second, sustainable development goal that I have included is good health and well-being. See, if your health is not good, the health may be physical health, health may be mental well-being, mental health. Then nothing, nothing you will like. So what is most important thing is the health. And the health is the third sustainable development goal under UN Sustainable Development Goals. So let us understand how this AI intervention in the area of mindfulness study can help to achieve, can help to meet these two, broader goals of UN Sustainable Development Goals as well. So, as I mentioned that previous, in the outline, I'll begin with IKS. I was just preparing, creating a background for you. Now I'll begin with IKS. I hope, because I'm talking about Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, that is Indian knowledge system, and other things. I hope because your, especially, the name of your university, who is the, I mean, which is the host institute, really impresses me. Shiksha Vo Anusandhan. So see, you see here, education is the first term and research is the second term, isn't it? So this Bharati Gyan Parampara also talks about this quality education and quality research. I'll explain to it. But there what we are emphasizing is the role of AI. So let's begin with a positive note, a good motivation, because the picture that you can see here, is very close to Bhubaneswar. His origin is a Kolkata. You all probably know about him, Swami Vivekananda, and that Swami Vivekananda I always consider for me as a lifeline. So everyone knows about his historical, speech, which he delivered in 1893. This is very important why I have included this thing to understand. So his speech was historical that he delivered in 1893 and candidly created a wonderful positive impression, especially in the minds of West. For what? regarding the potential of traditional knowledge of India, spiritual and other holistic practices of India, how spiritually we are powerful, how spiritually we are knowledgeable. We are very rich in terms of, Vedanta, Vedas, Upanishads. When you talk about Vedanta, it's nothing but knowledge, wherever your knowledge converges and you understand thoroughly about yourself, thoroughly about the things, that is Vedanta. So he candidly spoke about all these things. We are very, very rich. India is very rich in terms of its traditional knowledge. It may be traditional knowledge of medicine, traditional knowledge of Ayurveda, traditional knowledge of arts, culture, and so on. As well as the spiritual and other holistic practices. He envisioned of India there that time. Remember 1893 September, it was probably 11th September 1893, his speech was there. He was invited there to participate in a world religion conference as a Hindu monk of India. So he envisioned of India as a spiritual guru, or what we say Vishwa Guru, due to rich Indian traditional knowledge system, be it in culture, tradition, medicine, consciousness practices. What is consciousness practices? I'll explain you thoroughly, not thoroughly, scientifically. We cannot explain, we cannot discuss consciousness for a lot of time. But I'll try to explain what is consciousness, and that too scientifically. So when I talk about mindfulness practices, consciousness, this art, culture, tradition, medicine, Ayurveda, don't think that these are, oh my God, these are but what AI has to do with all these terminologies. If you are thinking like that, you are probably incorrect. So I'll try to connect where AI plays, where does AI play role in all these domains, and how can we actually bring back the glory of India, especially in the traditional knowledge of India. So Swami Vivekananda used to call upon all the Indians that time, especially the youth. Youth in in words of Swami Vivekananda is all those who are who are young minds, who are enthusiastic, who are highly motivated. So to bring the technological knowledge from the West and integrate that knowledge with Indian traditional knowledge and the values to make India as a Vishwaguru. So with this positive note and whatever note and motivation I have included has a relevance to my topic, because we are talking about Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, what is called as Indian knowledge system, traditional knowledge system. One more thing that mentions about Indian knowledge system. In fact, people started talking about Indian knowledge system when actually NEP 2020 come. That is National Education Policy of Government of India came in 2020. Then this discussion started vibrantly. If the technology interventions are integrated with Indian knowledge system, technology interventions means you can integrate the knowledge of your technology, knowledge of your artificial intelligence with Indian knowledge system, then it can create great impact of leading quality and holistic life. Remember, we are talking about sustainable healthcare, preventive healthcare. So when we mention about preventive healthcare, sustainable healthcare, quality of life matters. See, when you see the logo of your university, the host university, Shiksha Anusandhan, education and research. Tell me, what is the ultimate objective of both the, education and research? The answer is only one: quality of life. You are educating the people, you are getting educated, you are studying, you are imparting education, you are doing research, you are conducting research. The only one purpose: to improve the quality of masses, to improve the quality of life of everyone in the world. So therefore, what is important is, can really IKS, that is Indian knowledge system, help? I know that by now you still have not understood what is IKS. I'm coming to that slowly. I'll also explain what is IKS very briefly. So the IKS strength, IKS potential can be integrated with AI so that everyone can lead quality life, holistic life. You know about holistic life, right? With all happiness, healthy life, peaceful life, tranquility, no problem at all, good environment, good nature, everything, loving nature, caring nature. That's what, in a holistic manner, if you lead your life with quality, that is the very purpose. Today, the most challenging factor, regardless of tremendous technological advancement, why I have chosen this topic and why we are working in this area. If you are thinking that, no, how actually we are not able to understand how and where this ML is going to play the role, you might not be correct again. We have some, grant around, more than 100 lakh rupees for this particular work is more than 1 crore rupees for this particular work, and that too supported by the industries, which means that it has potential. Otherwise, industries will not come forward and they will not support this kind of work. So I'll come to that. What work we have been doing as a research grant, what work we have been doing as a research work, in the area of IKS, that also I'll explain. So today, what is most challenging factor? Despite we have, a lot of advancements, technological advancement, ICT, internet technologies, 5G, 6G technologies, the quality of life is to be improved as a continuous process, and it has to be sustainable. And this is only possible by or through sustainable environment, healthy environment, clean environment, good mental as well as physical health care. Now I'm emphasizing the term here, mental as well as physical health care. You can say that, we do a lot of medication, lot of treatment and other things, and we can afford the physical health care system and we can lead the healthy life. But I can tell you, recent studies and surveys suggest that mental well-being and mental healthness is really a big concern, great concern when you compare with the physical health. What is more important is the mental well-being, mental illness, and mental health. I will tell you one survey that study says that especially in young population, especially in adults, the biggest problem is the mental health. Many of us, simply ignore that we don't have any problem and we suffer a lot in our life, and therefore we are not able to lead the quality life. So I'm talking about NEP 2020. NEP 2020 is a national education policy that came in 2020 that envisages the same means this one, the sustainable healthcare, sustainable health, quality life, holistic life for everyone through quality education and research. See here, both the terms probably have borrowed from your university logo, Shiksha Anusandhan, that is education and research. So now finally coming to IKS, if you search Indian Knowledge System, you can find this link. You can find one separate web page under AICT, All India Council for Technical Education, under Ministry of Education. So IKS has a separate mandate. IKS is a separate body that is promoting, it is promoting interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary research on all aspects of IKS. What are those aspects? I'll try to quickly tell you and disseminate the IKS knowledge for further innovation and societal applications, because in your theme you have included real world problem. And what is, more important term in the real world problem is what is related with the society. So the IKS division of Government of India, Ministry of Education, it promotes research and critical studies in various IKS domains. I would like to tell you, those who are representing universities and institutes, this IKS, Indian Knowledge System, department of that Ministry of Education under AICTE, is also giving research grants to create IKS centers in your universities. I don't know whether your university has it or not, but you can apply for. They probably support some 30 to 40 lakh to create IKS center in your university or the institute to promote. And they also provide internship. Those students who have joined this talk, for them, let me tell you, they are also providing internship, paid internship, right? They are sending to some, authorized or approved research centers, approved IKS centers to carry out the research in the area of IKS. So we do provide paid internship under our Indian Knowledge System lab in IIIT Bangalore. So what's the ultimate goal of all these research and critical studies? To aim at original, and fundamental review-based research and deep scholarly research in the area of IKS and rejuvenate IKS research in India. And it includes knowledge. Now you can see, I was telling you, there are many things in IKS. So it includes traditional knowledge in mathematics, not only mathematics, but astronomy, chemical and material science, metallurgical science, health, wellness, well-being, consciousness studies. Because my focus where I'm working currently is the consciousness studies, political and economical thoughts, every area. Those days, Rajniti Shastra. I think, I mean, Rajniti Shastra is understood by everyone. Political science, Rajniti Shastra, science Shastra. How, in ancient time, that rich Rajniti Shastra, that rich knowledge of Rasayan Shastra can still help us in bringing out innovations and research in those ancient strength of India. Arts, traditions, rich culture. So these are the domains covered under IKS. Now I think this picture will tell you a lot of things, and you can do a lot of research and bring back the knowledge and the treasury, that heritage, that extremely powerful heritage of India. You talk about, say, Patanjali, in the area of medicine, in the area of chemistry, Nagarjuna in the area of chemistry, you see the Brahmagut knowledge of astrology and mathematics, Bhaskaracharya in the area of mathematics, and Jyotish Ved, all these area you see here, Ramanujan, great mathematician in the area of mathematics. So their approaches, think about those days. Those days there was no artificial intelligence. Those days there was no computer. Those days there was no, modern science, modern mathematics, and modern tools. But still, they have brought out some findings which are still not challengeable. So what I'm trying to say that you have tremendous knowledge of chemistry, mathematics, physics, astrology in all the different areas, and that to all these scientists and philosophers I have included belong to India. Many of them, most of them are from ancient India. So the goal of IKS is to disseminate the knowledge in these areas and promote the innovation and research in all these different domains using artificial intelligence in a scientific manner. Artificial intelligence is a buzzword, is a good looking word. Otherwise, scientifically, you can do study, you can do research, bring out some findings, and create awareness in the society, for the benefit of the society, for the welfare of the society, for the welfare of the world. Because in India, that when we are talking about Indian knowledge system, that is Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, we should not forget that we all Indians believe in Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramya. May all be healthy and happy. So we don't only pray for us, we don't do anything for us, rather we do for everyone in the world. During COVID-19 time, you have seen that how the vaccines of India were supplied to all across the world. So India, believes in Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramya. India also believes in Vasudeva Kutumbakam. The entire world is our family. Now you think about all these, verses and lines, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramya, and you find the relevance of those lines today also. And it is happening scientifically. How it is happening, that when you talk about vaccine development, does it not cover the medicinal knowledge, that kind of traditional knowledge of India, and of course applying the scientific domain, the knowledge of scientific domain, applying the knowledge of AI, the modern tools and technology, everything is integrated, and we are doing wonderful in these areas, and that too for the welfare and benefit of the not only society, not only India, but for the entire world. So let me quickly come to what we are doing at IKS, in the area of IKS. So this is the link for our lab where we are doing some activities. You can visit, and whatever we are doing, we are trying to do in a scientific manner. There is nothing, no approach at all we are doing in unscientific manner. We are doing in scientific manner. We are doing everything with the help of some ML models, ML techniques, AI techniques. I'll give few examples I have included in coming slides. So this is the link. You can visit our lab. So you can find again two more pictures. So one picture is actually we tested our device. You see here, this is my own picture. I'm wearing a EEG cap. It's a 8-channel EEG device. I have seen your FTP curriculum. There was a topic biomedical signal processing. So I think some of your speakers must have talked about EEG signal. So when you talk about acquiring the EEG signal, there are different types of EEG acquisition system. Electroencephalogram, and EEG is captured with the help of this cap-like structure. You can see this white kind of these nodes, which are nothing but the sensors. So you can increase, sorry, you can increase any number of sensors here. There are different types of devices: 8-channel device, 32-channel device, 64-channel device, 128-channel device. And you can wear this and you can capture your brain signal. How does brain respond? As I was telling a few minutes ago that our brain has more than 90 billions of neurons. So the group of neurons, thousands of neurons in a group respond to whatever we do. If I'm excited, if I'm happy, if I'm unhappy, if I'm crying, if I'm walking, if I'm doing yoga, if I'm doing Anulom Vilom, if I'm doing meditation, for all the activities, different parts of our brain respond differently. And some small amplitude of signal, that is electrical signal, is generated, and that we record with the help of EEG. There are other methods also. You can record, even you can go inside your brain, you can insert needles also, some surgical needles, and you can get better information, but that will be invasive. Like, we researchers can't do that. We are not allowed to do so. We can't insert the needles inside the head, inside the skull, but this is allowed. You have to have the ethical clearance, ethical committee clearance. We got the ethical committee clearance for the research, and we have been doing it. So this is, one of the activity has been is displaying here, but I'll explain what exactly we are doing in this area. So this lab acts as a platform for disseminating the knowledge. What knowledge? The traditional knowledge, and promoting the awareness of IKS. Please remember, in my outline of the talk, in the very first slide, I have included education, and second was your healthcare. So creating awareness, creating content development. If I talk about meditation, I'll say that to all my students tomorrow. From tomorrow, you start meditation. Do Anulom Vilom 10 minutes every day. Your stress is going to reduce. Many of you, won't believe. You'll say that no, we don't have time. We are busy. You're still suffering with a lot of stress, mental problems. Mental problem is not like, you have to worry about. Everyone has some stress, worries, anxieties, and we simply ignore. And that badly affects our health. Please remember. Please believe me. And therefore, we have to think of it very seriously. So what I'm trying to say that if we come out with some publications, some scientific findings by applying AI and ML models, and we say that no, these people have done some meditation, these people have done some yoga, and scientifically we can prove that the amount of stress was reduced. They were able to pay attention, they were able to focus into some work more strongly in a better way, and that too with the scientific evidence. Then people will believe, people will trust, and therefore it is equally important to create the content after scientific evidence and create the awareness to educate the masses. So that is also important, disseminating the knowledge, doing some research, doing some study, and promoting the awareness of IKS. And in everything, I mean, every stage, there is a role of AI, that is ICT tools in AI. I'll explain. So we aim at conducting research to explore various aspects of IKS. Currently, we have begun with the mindfulness practices. Mindfulness practices are nothing but breathing techniques and some meditation. There are different types of meditation: mindfulness meditation, heartfulness meditation. I'll explain in detail in coming slides. So this includes studying the impact of traditional yoga practices on brain activities. How does our brain respond? How does it impact our mental health? How does it impact our stress, sleep quality? Remember, sleep quality is another factor. We most of us suffer with poor quality of sleep, and that completely destroys our life. That completely destroys the next day when we don't get good sleep. And I mean, you have to trust this scientific research that this quality is also getting improved with some breathing and some meditation practices. So automated detection of mind wandering during meditation. When you are meditating, whether there is any reduction, whether there is any decrease in the mind wandering. Mind wandering is a challenging thing. What is mind wandering? You are trying to pay attention to this lecture, but your mind is, wandering here and there, except your class, except your topic. Your parents are explaining something to you, but you're not paying attention to your parents. Except paying attention to your parents, your mind is going here and there everywhere. That is mind wandering. So does this mindfulness practice reduce this mind wandering? The answer is big yes, because we have done one paper in this area I'll talk about, and we have submitted this particular work in IEEE transaction. We are hoping that next month or next month, we are going to get good outcome of this particular work. And then exploratory analysis of various meditational practices using psychometric and different biological time series data. Biological time series data, one of the example is your biomedical EEG signal. When you talk about EEG signal, is a time series signal. There are a number of biomedical signals. I think someone must have covered in previous topics, because this is the end of your faculty development program. And in biomedical signal, you have ECG that you record from your heart, electrocardiogram, then EEG, then functional MRI, then PET, then there are other modalities like ECOG, EMG, MEG are the modalities that you capture from your brain. So there are different biomedical signals. So I'm talking here about EEG signal, that's a time series data. So using this time series data, that is EEG signal, look at here, that person is, doing some activity in the bottom diagram, and some kind of time series signal is getting generated, and that you can record with the help of a device like EEG cap or EEG device. So there is one more thing that is called as psychometric analysis that depends on psychometric data. And what is that psychometric data? I'll explain in coming slides. All right. So what are the objectives of our IKS activity? What are the objectives of our IKS lab? You can one more diagram you can see here. This picture you can find in our website, our lab page. So Indian knowledge system does not only include consciousness studies. Still, many of you might not be knowing about what is consciousness. I'll try to explain, believe me, but it does not only include consciousness studies. Rather, it includes health and wellness, traditional knowledge in mathematics, traditional knowledge of medicines, yogas, Vedas, arts, culture, structures, ancient structures, design, etc. Astronomy, consciousness studies, and so on. All these areas are covered in Indian knowledge system. What are the objectives of our lab? To preserve and showcase the depth and breadth of IKS, not only breadth but depth. If we have started working in the area of say mindfulness practices like meditation, like breathing practices, so we really want to understand to certain depth, that how exactly it leaves certain impact in our mental health. Does it really have some impact? We want to understand with the depth and breadth, and that too, what is the purpose? For sustainable society. In your faculty development aim, you have included the real world problem. So why can't real world problem be, for the society, for sustainable society, for healthy society, for happy society, you know? So to promote, the other one is to promote and disseminate the IKS, foster a deeper understanding of India's intellectual and cultural heritage that Swami Vivekananda talked about. Remember in September 1893 in Chicago speech, he talked about our cultural heritage, our intellectual power, our spiritual knowledge, knowledge of Vedas, he talked about. Yesterday, I was talking with one professor who is working in this area to some extent, is from Triple IT Gwalior, and one is from IT Indore. So he was saying that this intellectual knowledge and this cultural heritage. If you read about Atharva Veda, if you read about Atharva Veda, if you read about Rig Veda, he was saying that there is a tremendous scope of applying artificial intelligence in Atharva Veda. Right? Atharva Veda talks about Ayurveda and other knowledges. So how can we, apply this technology into that area? Because in coming slides, I have included how we are applying, we are actually trying to bring the good findings on in these areas. To conduct critical studies on the heritage of Indian tribal, Lok Geets, because I know that even in the state of Odisha, there are a lot of, tribal population. So you can also think about doing some research on Lok Geet, Lok Nrit, tribal culture, tribal tradition, I can say that make your unique culture, make your unique tradition visible all across the world. So it does not only encourage the research and studies, but it also encourages them to be, part of our inclusive society. Those tribal communities, and they will come on the global platform. And thirdly, people will start visiting to those areas all across the globe. So tourism sector will automatically increase if you do some research in those areas and bring on certain platform with the help of AI and make it visible, across the world. So to conduct, other thing is to conduct research in the area of yoga, meditation and mindfulness for sustainable health. So this is actually the area with which we have started currently, yoga, meditation and mindfulness practices. I have still not explained what is mindfulness. Probably the next slide will answer you that what is consciousness and what is mindfulness. The very answer is very simple. If you can, experience your mind, if you can notice your mind, what your mind is doing, and if you can also try to control your mind is doing something. No, 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 don't do this. And I try to control, be patient, be calm, be quiet. If you're able to control, so what is this? This is mindfulness. Mindful means you can notice your mind, you can experience your mind, and mindfulness is the adjective. That's the property by which you can notice, you can experience, and once you can experience, you can notice your mind, you can control, you can monitor, you can assess, you can do whatever you want to do with your mind as well. Lastly, the objective of our IKS is to create awareness in the masses for IKS. I have told you why this is needed. Otherwise, when you reach out to the young guys, young masses that do meditation, do mindfulness practices, they will not trust you. Here, I would like to give an example. Please listen to me very, very carefully, especially the young girls and young boys. There is one doctor in Mysore. Mysore is a place near Bangalore. You must have heard about. There is a doctor gynecologist who is working in the area of the problem of female infertility. And the doctor says that we met her and we have developed a common protocol for the next cycle of her research. And the doctor says that the biggest problem, the biggest challenging factor for female infertility problem is the stress. So they have done some psychometric data analysis. They have done some their regular test, that BPM, all the calculations, and they have come to the conclusion that stress is a major factor in the females for infertility. Second was, and that problem is mainly there in the urban areas. That problem is not there in the rural areas. Other thing which I'm going to tell you is very exciting. Listen to me. The doctor has been recommending to some people who are interested for 3 months control meditation. In addition to medication, the doctor is recommending, believe me, the gynecologist is recommending meditation. And those who have done 3 months of control meditation, there has been success in that particular problem. Doctor was telling that one lady who did not have any child for last 17 years or 22 years, they conceived after doing 3 months of meditation. So it matters. Now, what is important for us is to create the awareness. Is it really, worthy doing so? But simply we can say that I can give this example. We don't have so many examples to talk about that, this meditation has a power. It's a powerful thing that actually helps in all these areas of our healthcare. What is important is if you can really use some artificial intelligence and ML technique and bring some scientific findings, like doctor was saying that stress was a major factor. How did doctor come to conclusion? Because some questions were asked during the medication and meditation. Did you get good sleep? Were you stressed? All these kind of questions were asked, and all the questions were responded in some scale 1 to 5. Some person was asked whether you get a good sleep. The answer will be from 1 to 5. If 5 means the best quality of sleep person was getting. And based on this data, you can do some statistical analysis, data exploratory analysis, what is called as psychometric data analysis. So based on psychometric data analysis, that finding is there. But doctor says that, I mean, there we need some scientific method in order to actually assess the level of stress. They were in stress. How much was the stress? And once they started meditation, after 1 week, after 2 weeks, after 1 month, after 2 months, how was the impact of meditation in order to gradually reduce the amount of stress that they want to assess? There we came into the picture. We started collaboration. Now we have developed the protocol. Protocol is something at the end, those who are interested, those who want to know what do we mean by protocol, in this kind of research, I can explain you. So we have developed, we have written complete description and protocols of doing that research. And soon we are going to record the EEG signal from all those new participants who are going to attend the next cycle of 3 months of meditation in her a medical center. That is, the doctor is basically gynecologist. So I just wanted to tell you one example. I just gave one example so that you can really understand that, yeah, this is a real world problem and this is a genuine problem where the meditation is playing important role. How exactly it helps, I can explain in two ways. One, with the help of this consciousness, subconsciousness, and second, with the help of EEG signal. Both I have included in coming slides. So as I told you, mind is a dynamic behavior. You see here, so what current work, especially in terms of research grants we are doing, and in my lab, in our lab we are doing. So the first work we are doing that has been supported by, Emphasis has given some grant here. AI intervention based scientific study of yoga, aim consciousness for community wellness and augmented quality of life, improved quality of life. Believe me, if for this topic, if there is no role of AI, how will we be supported? How this organization, will support us? If there is some evidence, if there is some opportunity, if there is some possibility, and what we have proposed with a few of our case studies and previous work based on that, we got it and we have started working. Second is also, supported by this and it's ML based classification of practitioners and non-practitioners of yoga, meditation and breathing practices for improved quality of life and community wellness. Now you can see here there are so many new terms like improved quality of life. How can you assess the quality of life? So you have to include some parameters. For example, mind wandering. Why mind wandering is very important for quality life? It is important when you want to do some work, when you want to pay attention to some work, some task, some object. See, meditation is not only the approach where you are required to go to Himalaya and sitting there for 10 years like yogi or any saint. It's not like that. You are not able to pay attention to either an object or a person or an activity or a task or a work. It means you are having some problem. So that is one component of your quality of life. Second, sleep quality. Third, stress. Fourth, so many things are there. Emotionally, how strong you are. And can we really, study about all these things which I'm talking about using AI/ML? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. So what is the first thing which we are trying to do? I mean, anyone can do it very easily. We can classify that these are practitioners and these are non-practitioners. Means those who are doing meditation and yoga, those who are not doing meditation and yoga. You can easily classify. That's not a big task, I can tell you. But after that, what is more important is to those who are doing meditation, maybe for 1 year, 2 years, 1 month, 10 years, what is the impact? Is there any reduction in the quality of, is there any reduction of stress? Is there any improvement in the quality of sleep? Is there any improvement in his cognitive skills? Cognitive skill is important thing. Overall understanding, critical thinking, decision making. Are you improving in those areas? Answer is yes or no. So it's a part of this particular project. So both are the research projects which we are doing under this lab. I have already told about, and the major objectives of this work are to study impact of yoga on mental well-being, consciousness, and sleep quality. I'll again come to consciousness. to safeguard or improve community well-being through AI intervention and to study cognitive ability and impact of yoga and mindfulness practices. Now, since in my topic, this AI is coming repeatedly, so let me spend some time on this and then I'll directly come to mindfulness practices. The first part is over now. I'll come to sustainable health, mindfulness practices, and the role of AI after this. So I think you have covered a lot about AI and ML. So there is no need of explaining all these things in detail. So when you say that some computing is intelligent, but the moment you say intelligent, it means automatically the intelligence, the reasoning, the ability of perception, information gathering, information understanding, information comprehension, analysis, all these are involved to solve the real world problem. And it includes neural network, planning, robotics, ML, all these areas, knowledge, cognitive system, all are included in the artificial intelligence system. The system which is not natural, but mimics the natural system. And what is natural system? The natural system is your brain. So how does it work? Does it have decision making ability? Does it have organization capability? Does it have leadership quality? Does it have critical thinking quality? Everything we have in the natural intelligence, what we call as our brain. So this is mimicked and this is actually, what is called as imitated by the system, by the, the computation or the intelligence we call artificial intelligence. So the basic fundamental from which we derive is the brain, remember. And I have told you that dynamic nature is mine. I'll come to that very quickly. And the second is, I think with the emergence of 5G and 6G technologies, you are able to deploy, you are able to implement a lot of IoT devices, Internet of Medical Thing devices, Internet of Things kind of devices. I mean, the speakers must have covered this. We are talking about Internet of Medical Things. So think about the rural areas, think about the areas where physicians and doctors cannot reach, where you cannot take to your sophisticated equipment to capture their EEG and other things. So now the IoTs are coming, Internet of Medical Things are coming, IoMTs are coming. You can reach out to the rural area, you can reach out to any person and connect their EEG signal or any biological parameter, and connect with any doctor from or across the world. So how it is possible? Because communication, speed, the bandwidth, the capability has been expanded by 5G, 6G technologies. Smart sensing technologies are coming, and that too, the distributed computing paradigm. So cloud-based services like many of you wear smart watches, smart gadgets. Even in your smartphone, you have a Google Fit that can tell you how many steps you have walked, how much calories you have burned. All these are nothing but your IoT devices, IoT platforms. And with the emergence of 5G and other technologies, this has become very affordable, reachable, and therefore the remote patient monitoring kind of healthcare system has become very efficient and very effective. So I think I did not talk about what is the power of or capability of intelligent computing, but the backside, the background of all this computing is the mathematics. When you say artificial intelligence, when you talk about ML, that is ML machine learning, or you implement some algorithm, that's nothing but you inside your computer you write some mathematical equations, some mathematical model. You create the model, you give some input, and based on certain parameters, that model aligns and model tries to produce certain output. And then you can have a feedback mechanism. All these things you do, and you make your computing intelligent. So let me not spend much time. I'll come to my work or our work. And community wellness and well-being, you can see that community well-being covers everything: sense of community, cultural, community health, access to country, access to everything, access to education, economic growth, infrastructure, education, learning. All these are, in very good, way or manner, then you can say education, community well-being. So it's a holistic approach. There was a term holistic life you have seen in the previous slide. Holistic approach. When we say holistic approach means your social life is good, your economic life is good, environment is really good, it's very clean. You have access to clean water, clean energy, good education, quality education. Then we will say that holistic development is taking place. There are a lot of cultural factors for communities to lead the quality life. And when we say community wellness, that actually covers your patient-centric approach to the healthcare. And when we talk about the brain signal, EEG and the other signals, then we call it as a mental health care, mental well-being. Now the next slide is very important because you can say that, why to trust on all these things? Why to study the stress? Why to study the attention level? Why to study the mental illness? There is a survey. I have included the reference also. It has been reported that some 25 to 50% cases of adult illness may be prevented through early intervention in the childhood. Graduate students have an 8 times higher rate of severe depression and anxiety. You can understand. Graduate students have an 8 times higher rate of severe depression and anxiety, believe it or not. So what is the answer? What is the way? The way is, you see here, prevention and early intervention. So you can have this prevention and early intervention. Otherwise, if you're not able to do early intervention, go for treatment. And once treatment starts, then you have to go for recovery and maintenance, long-term care, long-term treatment, standard treatment, and there will be suffering and suffering a lot. But what we can do is early intervention is possible. And as far as the early intervention is concerned, that as I mentioned, the EEG based biomedical based research, where EEG signal based research, BCI signal based research helps a lot in the area of early, intervention. So if you can apply the early intervention with the help of artificial intelligence at early stage, if you can detect, identify there is some risk which is indicated by some IoT devices. I'm sorry. So when you say IoT devices, nothing but it combines the smart sensing technologies and your ML. ML can be implemented at edge devices at different nodes, or you can also directly feed your sensing data to the cloud and you can get the decision from the cloud. But edge-based devices are coming where at different stages you can, to some extent decision making is possible. So if some parameter is captured and that indication can be made, identification is made. So the person or the subjects, those who are likely to suffer, the diagnosis can start and the lives can be saved. This mental health research includes, the thinking ability, the cognition, the behavior, study of behavior, physical functions, paralysis. You are not able to, operate your motory task, your hands, your eye blinks, your movement or your face and everything, all motory tasks. You are not able to perform your physical functions properly. Signaling, you are not good in responsive and reacting to the environment, to the nature, to the persons. So these are all the symptoms of mental illness. Emotions are not properly expressed. Perception in the sensing, you have inabilities in perceiving or in sensing something, that also comes under a mental illness. So what are mindfulness practices? Let's come to this. I think I have another 30 minutes. So like scientific study of mind. We want to do scientific study of mind. Now you see here, the one thing is written here. Great leaders know that their power comes from their subconsciousness mind. What is subconsciousness mind? See one more picture. I think I have included here. I'll come to that. So what is important is when you start doing these mindfulness practices, you will be least affected by the surroundings. Your mind wandering will be reduced to large extent. Now there is a second picture that says that whatever you feed to your subconsciousness, see here, the great leaders that know their power comes from subconsciousness. So whatever you want to feed to your subconsciousness mind, and accordingly your development will happen. So what is that? Let us try to understand. Let us see the second picture at the top. Subconsciousness mind and consciousness mind. See the frontal area, and in the prefrontal area, consciousness mind area is actually this side. And this particular part of your brain is subconsciousness mind. This complete picture is the diagram of your brain where this area is a frontal area, this is temporal, this is parietal, this side is occipital area. When you see occipital area, what are the abilities of this particular part of your brain? Visual cortex, visual association areas. It means your mind is wandering. Your mind is wandering. So whenever during mind wandering, what happens? You are able to visualize something. You are attending this lecture but you are still able to visualize what is happening in Odisha, what is happening in Bhubaneswar, what is happening in Singapore, what is happening to your college, what is happening some other place, what is happening in your family. You are just visualizing. So visualizing ability is, going on. So where does it happen? Which part of your brain responds to when you are engaged in mind wandering? This particular part. When you want to do something related to the taste sensing ability, then this is a part. You see here, motory task, speech related task will be associated with this part of the brain. Now you must be getting some idea now, might be getting some idea. If I want to study about the speech disability, disability related to speech, disability related to taste, so I'll be interested in this part of the brain. How will I do that? Can I get some EEG or any other kind of biomedical signal from this part? And then I'll compare a normal person with abnormal person. And if I'm able to compare with normal and compare with a normal person, I can find out what is the problem with this person, why the person has lost his ability to, sensing to taste, sensing to speak, and sensing to other abilities. Like you see here, this is called as premotor area, primary motor area. So motory task means your movements, your blinking, your movement of hands, legs, all these are determined by this thing. You might be saying that, what is this all about? I can tell you, if your mind, if your brain doesn't allow that you have to move next, you will not move next. You're controlled by your brain. When your mind says that you have to move your hands, then only you move. You give your facial expressions. So all these are governed and directed by these areas. And let us come to subconsciousness and consciousness mind. I can give one example with the help of another picture. See, consciousness mind is generally 10% of our mind. What are there? Willpower, some short-term memory, logical thinking, critical thinking, decision making, planning, organization, all abilities are there in consciousness mind. I can say consciousness mind is uh, this particular subconsciousness mind just obeys. Who commands? Consciousness mind commands. Who obeys? Subconsciousness mind. What is there in subconsciousness mind? That belief, habits, values, protective reaction, long-term memory, imagination, intuition, all there are in subconsciousness. Now let me explain you what is mindfulness. So I can give one example. You meet some person, that impression of meeting that person is recorded in your subconsciousness part of your mind. So that is a permanent memory. Now you want to memorize many things, many things. So what you will do, you will use this one. When you understand something logically, in order to reach to certain conclusion, you want to apply some decision making. What you will do? Consciousness. For example, there is it's not written here, but here it is written, breathing techniques also come under mindfulness practices. I want to give one example. We all are breathing. Our breathing is a natural phenomenon. So that knowledge, that thing is there in subconsciousness mind. But where consciousness mind can play role when it comes to breathing, what do we do in Anulom Vilom? What do you do in other breathing techniques? You know that your breathing is going on, breathing is happening, but then with the knowledge of your consciousness, you try to, do the breathing practice at regular interval, using some discipline, using some technique, you do it. That is your consciousness. Why do you do this? As I told you, when you do it for a long time, you believe it or not, but during COVID-19, many of you or all of you must have seen that people started, this Anulom Vilom other breathing techniques in order to enhance, in order to improve their immunity. And that is true to large extent. It means this has significant findings, significant outcome. So when you do it repeatedly for 10 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, believe me, this is going to create some permanent impression in the subconscious mind. So your trait, your behavior, if you feed a lot of time continuously negativity, negative thoughts in your mind, so that will create some impression in the subconsciousness mind. And therefore, there was a picture. It is up to you. What do you want to feed into your subconsciousness? But you are aware whether this is negative or positive. You are aware. Who knows whether it is a positive or negative? Your consciousness mind. This is something which is called as mindfulness. you can control your consciousness mind, and you can become better person, you can become healthy person, you can practice, you can control your breathing and other techniques, other exercises, and you can lead quality life. You can reduce your stress, you can improve your quality of life. I always give one example. One day I was not having good sleep. What did I do? I started taking deep breath and started noticing my inhale and exhale. It is reaching here, exhaling and inhaling. I just started noticing my own breath. Believe me, in 3 minutes, I got good sleep. And I think after another 4 or 5 hours, I woke up. It's a simple technique and it's a powerful technique. So this works. Now, what is the agenda we are discussing about? Where and how we can prove it, that we are talking about. So how does it help? It reduces the stress. It increases the tranquility, that is peacefulness. It reduces the mind wandering. It improves the cognitive abilities as well. So I have already talked about these two, research work which we have been doing. No need to repeat it all. And as I have already mentioned, that Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramya is the ultimate agenda. May all be happy and healthy is the ultimate objective, universal value, universal objective of our Indian culture, and that is the purpose of the IKS, to do research on mind, to do research on psychology, to do research in the area of cognitive science, and scientifically prove that what we are talking about is stress, quality sleep, all these things. Can we do something in this area scientifically and by capturing the EEG signal? That is the idea. So what facilities we are using? We have MOU or collaboration with, there is a university in Bangalore called as Swami Vivekananda Yoga Anusandhan Sansthan. It's a deemed university of yoga. They are a big campus. They have these facilities. So we have signed MOU. We are, we have access to their psychophysiology, cognitive neuroscience, psychology, bioenergy, sleep lab, and all that. All these facilities we are having. So what is the general approach in all these things I've talked about? And recently we visited. Many of you might have heard about NIMHANS Bangalore. It's a premier institute in the area of National Institute of Mental Health Sciences in Bangalore. We have started working with them as well. They have wonderful labs in the area of dream. There are PhD scholars who are working in the area of dream. In the dream state, what happens to your brain? How does your mind respond? That kind of research they are doing. So we have started working with them as well. So in this kind of research, what is the general approach? We collect the data, right? We collect the EEG data and different types of data. And we are also in the process of creating our own data. Then we analyze the data based on other attributes. A lot of it. I will give one example actually. And then what do? We apply some AI ML and try to study about the stress, sleep quality, concentration, disability, disorder, and so on. This is the general approach. Now, where does this is the general flow of of work. We capture the data. After capturing the data, what do? We pre-process the data. For example, we are recording EEG signal. So when you are recording EEG signal, you have asked all the subjects, participants, you sit like this, folded legs and all that. But many of them don't follow. You will say that close your eyes. And if they open their eyes, so this will all create artifacts in the signal, some unwanted signal in the original signal. So you will pre-process the signal. Once the data is pre-processed, then you'll extract the features, then pop. If you have more modalities, like you're combining EEG signal with some MEG and other signals, you can do this. Otherwise, you can also work with EEG. Then choose a model, whichever model you want to use for classification. Then you can classify whether the person is suffering with some disorder or person is suffering with some stress and other kind of things that you can study. So there may be a number of applications when you can apply your artificial intelligence to these areas. And for example, there was a raw EEG data. We have raw EEG data. What we did is we acquired the data. We used pre-processing. I think for this we use simply some ICA, independent component analysis method. And after that, by Morlet, I think by using Morlet wavelet transform, we decompose the EEG signal. Because when you say EEG signal, it's a time series signal. You need to decompose into alpha, beta, gamma. I'll tell you what those alpha, beta, gamma are. And then we estimated coherence and power spectral density values. And we can do statistical analysis, as well as these values can be further subjected to the classifier, any ML method, and we can classify that these are the meditators, these are non-meditators. If these are meditators, what is the impact when they are doing the meditation for a particular time? So I think I wanted to talk about, now we have another 20 minutes. This is a brain area I've already explained. Each part of your brain has different abilities, like temporal lobe, you see here, understanding language, behavior, memory is associated with the temporal area. When you see the occipital, I have already explained, parietal has a reading ability, body orientation ability. So if there is something wrong in this body orientation ability or reading abilities, disability is there in reading in some person, you can compare with normal persons, and then there are some rehabilitation techniques by which you can apply the feedback signal and correct that. But we are not talking in general, we are not doing any general discussion on this, so let's keep. I have already explained about the montages. Montages are nothing but the number of electrodes which you place, which you can keep in the these like structures. These electrodes may be dry electrodes as well as wet electrodes. Wet electrodes will be probably better because you will put some gel, you'll remove your hairs, and between the scalp and sensor, that electrode, you'll put some gel so that conductivity is enhanced and resistivity is improved. And then this was the same example. So this is one example with which you can understand very quickly that this was one raw data, raw EEG data from this. First picture was for a normal person, and second picture was for mind wandering. The person who we found that his mind was in mind wandering stage. So you can clearly see the difference space even in the continuous domain. This is the natural continuous domain, that is time series data, but it's very difficult to classify when you have huge number of samples, when you have huge number of subjects, 100, 200, 300 participants are there. And if your number of samples is more, and suppose you have done 3 times, 100 times, 200 times. So how many epochs you have taken, how many sessions you have involved. Accordingly, it's very difficult to compare directly in the time domains. What do? We can then extract the alpha, beta, gamma components. There are decomposition techniques. I gave one example of decomposition like Morlet wavelet transform. And this alpha, beta, gamma, you can see the description here, like delta is the lowest signal frequency. So when someone is in deep sleep, you can get its delta wave. Someone is doing deep meditation, someone, eyes are closed and awake, then you can get the frequency of that small amplitude signal. All the signals are this electrical potential are, small voltages, and the frequency is also very less. But based on the frequency ranges, the names are delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma. So when gamma means when I'm say visualizing something. So if you go to my occipital area and check the gamma wave, I can tell you that time gamma energy will be higher. If mind is in wandering stage, I'm visualizing something, I'm not able to pay attention, I can tell you that time gamma energy will be higher. So how can you find gamma energy? Just take this gamma wave after decomposition. Where is gamma? This one. Calculate PSD value. And there are 100 subjects. Subject PSD value of 100 subjects to any classifier. And you can classify that where and to what extent the problem is there in which particular subject. You can clearly classify whether this person is having mind wandering. If it has having a problem of mind wandering, how to what extent the mind wandering is happening in that person. So for these are our practical results. Actually, we did some subband analysis. So this is for your normal person, and this we found for abnormal person. That too, especially the time domain. But that is not the purpose. What you need to do is, as I mentioned, that we evaluated, you can evaluate PSD or any other value. And there are a lot of things involved. I have not discussed about the protocol. You have to develop some protocol. Those who are participating in research, you have to tell them, you have to ask some questions during the meditation, before the meditation, after the meditation. You have to decide the timings. During the meditation you want to record, before the meditation you want to record, after the meditation you want to record. All you have to specify in the protocol. So the expert meditators and novice meditators, those who were very new to the meditations, we evaluated the PSD value, and this is one sample of our, our research that is under review actually. And then you can use any classifier. You can find the accuracy that in which band. And this actually, I think this particular accuracy was probably for alpha wave in our case when we did for mind wandering. So we also found that alpha energy is also getting very high when you are in mind wandering stage, and that mind wandering is reduced when you are doing meditation. That was also observed. And then you can calculate anything, you can evaluate the performance of your ML models. I'm talking about AI intervention now. So you can use any ML models in the pre-processing stage. You can in the decomposition stage, you can do that. And then in the classification stage, you can apply EL model. And finally, after evaluating the performance, you can say that, this particular model is working well with this data. So this data capturing is not very easy task. It has a protocols, it has rules and regulations, it has ethical clearance and all that. So what I will do that I'll try to stop it 3:40 probably, then 5-10 minutes. If you have questions are related to even protocol, if you have question, I would love to answer your question. So what work currently we are doing is analyzing the impact of mind wandering during meditation of EEG signal. We have submitted one work where you can see that the occipital area we have focused. We can find out occipital area with the help of a channel number, and then from there EEG was recorded. We translated them into a 10 seconds of epochs, and then we use TQWT, and then we decompose by using this method, and then we use some optimization techniques and classifiers, and finally based on the features extracted, we selected some features and then we classified whether the subject is mind wandering or not mind wandering. So that happened with the help of subband analysis. Like this was the signal that was already included in the previous slide. So this is one more diagram of the same work, I think same paper. The embedded computing model was there. You can display there only, or EEG can be sent to decomposition. Then the decomposition technique will provide a number of subbands, alpha, beta, gamma. You can use any method to extract the features. You can use either analysis of variance or any other method to select the features, and then you can use any ML based classifier to classify the mindfulness practitioners. So a study of heartfulness meditation of life satisfaction and perceived stress detection. And fortunately, I have explained about this. So we have started working in this area also. I have given one example of Mysore Hospital where gynecologist is working in the area of female infertility. So this is the area where we are starting the heartfulness meditation also, where they train the people with how to meditate, keeping not in the you're keeping not the mind in your mind, but rather heart in your mind. They have a different technique. There are 200 heartfulness centers all across the world. Bangalore has a center. Probably Bhubaneswar will definitely have a center. You can search it. You can find. They provide free of training, free of cost training to the heartfulness meditation technique. So looked at how heartfulness meditation could help female students reduce stress and improve their quality of life. This work we have already done. This was a Satyam-based study, and this suggests that heartfulness meditation practice provides significant benefits to female students of all ages. And this was, a Satyam group where it's a women institution was there. They involved a lot of female candidates and subjects in the study, and then we did the exploratory data analysis. And we also used ML model. We found those who are stressed, those who were normal, and we also found that how did this heartfulness meditation impact, their especially the stress in the female participants, female subjects. That was also part of the study. So planned work is, as I told you, we are planning. We have already started. Our ethical clearance has come for Anulom Vilom Pranayama. We got the clearance for Anulom Vilom silent meditation, and we have also got the clearance for Maha Mantra like Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, and Om chanting. And that is our immediate work. We are starting impact of study of chanting mantras using brain signal, heartfulness meditation, its impact in Dibya Janani. Dibya Janani is that female infertility problem. So these work are in progress. So we also do take on a paid internship, time to time. You can, keep yourself updated. You can keep on visiting our lab. We announce there whenever there is an opening for paid internship or JRF kind of, requirement. You can reach out to us and you can see what work we have been trying to do, and we provide the. So let's come to the conclusion. The focus was Bharati Gan Parampara Bhadrayam Sumato Yatem. What is this Bhadrayam Sumato Yatem? Is written in the last line. It has a tremendous scope for research. I have explained you in one area only. You can start manufacturing, metallurgy, and other areas here. Trying AI, bringing into the picture. Mindfulness practices way to sustainable preventive healthcare, and need to apply in other domains as well as like arts, music, language, crafts. If someone is playing music, can it provide any relief in terms of stress and all that? That kind of study can easily be made. So what is important here is Bhadrayam Sumato Yatem. It is nothing but let us strive for goodness and goodness, goodness and goodness to everyone is the logo and mantra for Bharatiya Gyan Parampa, what is called as Indian knowledge system. So in that direction also, in that direction only, we are also trying to contribute from our side to some extent, and that too, what is important is with a scientific approach, scientific manner, we are trying. So I think a thank you note is also a special thank you note. What we need is a quality of life that has a healthy environment, sustainable economy and community well-being is taken care of. When you talk about quality of life, it includes health, wealth, and stability. That is sustainability. Then only we'll say that quality of life, and that hugely depends on mental well-being as well. And if you start practicing this mindfulness practices, that's a way through which you can avoid that dependency on physical healthcare system, and that opens the door for a lot of opportunities in the area, for research by applying artificial intelligence and ML. Subjected to or apply, you can apply to different types of biomedical signals for different types of studies. You can make your own objectives. So I think thank you note is also very special, and this thank you note is always included in my slides, especially for the students. You understand here, and as the motivation is the commitment. So for equal motivation, you can understand if commitment excellence is proportional to commitment square. So if your commitment is double, what will happen? Excellence will be 4 times. If your commitment is half, excellence will be 1 by 4. So why commitment is half? Suppose your mind one, you are having mind one, you are not able to pay attention. So your commitment is definitely half. So if your commitment is half for either you are not able to pay attention to a person, object, activity, task, or work, I can tell you your excellence, your competence, your performance will be affected at all. Definitely affected at all for us here. So with this good note, with this positive note, let me again thank you, Dr. Sam.